Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm so excited to talk about Train Dreams today. I had that experience walking into a movie where I just thought I was going to think one thing of it. I wasn't particularly excited to see it. I wasn't expecting to love it. And then I'm watching the movie, and all I'm thinking to myself is, this is beautiful. I am stunned right now. I was left floored by Train Dreams. And I'm so excited to talk about this movie that I do think is one of the most beautiful films of 2025. At first, you hear the premise of Train Dreams, which follows the life of a logger in the 20th century. And my initial instincts is, am I going to care about this story? This doesn't really sound like it's for me. But this is the story of a beautiful exploration of one man's life through growing old and also getting to experience what comes with that, the beauty of aging and the tragedy of aging, and how closely beauty and tragedy are closely entwined. I was so emotionally moved watching Train Dreams. I cannot believe this. And Joel Egerton stars as Robert the Logger in this movie, who experiences love and loss and what it does to their psyche. On top of that, he must face a world that is quickly evolving and leaving him behind in the 20th century. Train Dreams comes to us from Chris Bentley. He's one of the writers and producers of last year's Sing Sing, and I believe these two films share a lot in common. They are men's exploration of their emotions and trying to make the most of life in the most difficult of circumstances. And what I love about Bentley's decision within Train Dreams, which I also loved within Sing Sing, is it doesn't ignore the realities and hardships of life. Rather, we get to see it explored while also acknowledging that there is beauty to be found within the tragedy, but tragedy exists and tragedy can't be ignored and injustice can't be ignored. That's something that I found very moving within Train Dreams. I think that is something very real in this movie, and people trying to detach from their pain of existence, but learning that that's not necessarily the healthiest thing to do. You could call this movie therapeutic, as you could call Sing Sing. I would like to think of it more as understanding the complexities of life, and I think that's something Clint Bentley does very well as a director. Sean Fennessy at The Big Picture said this best in his Letterboxd review, which I'm just going to plagiarize exactly. In his own words, he says, Train Dreams, it's about how we're all alone in the world except the precious time when we're not. I think that's an excellent summary of Train Dreams. That is the thematic core of this movie. It is these moments of happiness that you can find amongst being alone in life. And what I love Train Dreams does is it finds honesty. It is a story about the fear of losing and a fear of death. Anyone who has aged knows this feeling. Once you find love, that fear of losing love. What happens if you could lose love, when people around you start to die and you start thinking about your own mortality. Train Dreams explores this in such exceptional ways, especially with some of the other logger characters, how quick and precious life can be. William H. Macy is in this movie. He is another older logger. His role in this film is very fundamental, and I found it so profoundly moving, as is every character in this movie. Every logger who comes into this movie, they feel like real human beings with real stories, and even without much dialogue, you get an understanding of who they are, where they are, how they've lived. It's such a testament to Clint Bentley's direction here. And honestly, my biggest surprise when it comes to the acting field in this movie is the actress Felicity Jones. And I have to be honest, I don't usually like her in films. She's never really worked for me in many roles. Honestly think Rogue One is maybe the best performance that she's giving, and really the only one of hers that I particularly care for. And I have to say, she's great in Train Dreams. I mean, just spectacular. She plays Gladys, the wife of Robert, in this movie. And what I loved about this performance, and what I loved about how Train Dreams explores this, is how natural and intimate we get to see Robert and Gladys in this movie. This relationship feels real. It is so personal, and it is a movie broken up into sections, and it leads to the emotional devastation of this movie. There are multiple phases of Robert's life, but they can best be summarized as the moments that Robert is with his family, and then the moments when he has to leave his family to do his job logging. And those breaks are the emotional heartbeat of this movie. And the way that Robert, played by Joel Egerton, comes to life when he gets to see his family again, I found it to be so profoundly moving and beautiful. And I think it's so represented, and it's so much because, and again, credit to Felicity Jones, because you believe this Gladys character, you believe this relationship, you believe how much they love each other, and how different life is when he doesn't have Gladys in his life. When he is away from her, what that does to his psyche, what that does to him when he's not with his child, how that affects him, and how happy he is to be home, and how home changes over the course of the 20th century, how that changes in his life and his definition as the world around him moves. The tension of this film is what happens to someone when these moments of peace that you find in love become briefer and briefer, and when life doesn't let up and moves faster and faster, what that does to someone. There is this relentless nature, especially within the 20th century, where we follow different periods of time within this film. We follow the 1910s, and then we're in the 30s, and then this film eventually gets us to the 60s. Again, it is encompassing this man's life. And how different life looks in the 1910s versus how different it looks during the 1930s, and then how drastically different it looks in the 1960s. It is so relentless in its quality and how it affects his aging and technology passing one by. That's something that I think a lot of people will find relating to in this movie, is how fast everything changes and how fast you quickly learn you're no longer understanding of the world. This is also a credit to the genius of the Joel Egerton performance, an actor I've always liked, and I think he is excellent in Train Dreams. I'd have to imagine this is his best performance that he's given. It is his ability as an actor to communicate all of these feelings and thematic weight that I'm talking about, and this feeling of rapid aging and discomfort in his understanding of the world and his place within the world. It's his ability to communicate all of these feelings with very little dialogue and just set the mood and tone for this film. What I love about Train Dreams is how Robert feels frozen in time, and why the naturalistic world brings him such comfort. It's familiar, it's safety for him. How does that get disrupted with the process of modernization of the 20th century, where his job becomes, if not obsolete, his job shifts. His job requires uses of different technologies that he's not familiar with. One of the best scenes in this movie is Robert just being uncomfortable knowing how to use a chainsaw because he's always done it by axe. That's a really great moment that's very small, but it really just captures time passing him by between one logging season to the next. Even in 1 year, he's less comfortable doing this. Yet, the film makes a smart choice to explore why Robert remains stagnant as a result of his understanding of life and death, in what that all entails. I don't want to get too much into spoilers about Train Dreams, so I'm going to tread carefully here, but this movie does explore life, and it does explore loss. What happens when people around you are no longer in your life? And there is this haunting quality to the natural world. I think it's one of the best reasons that this movie is set in the natural world, is our understanding of life and death as it connects to the natural world, and how and why he feels that connection in the times that he does. There is this silence and timidity to life. It is a level of peace, but this peace is also at the sacrifice of understanding of his own feelings, of his own emotions, and his own unwillingness to move forward and adapt and grow in life. One of the best moments of the third act of this movie, which again, I won't get into spoilers, but it's when he gets to experience aging. There is this moment in this film where he takes a risk and a journey that he otherwise wouldn't have had. And it's the technological advancements. It's him feeling a different way and a sensation of life that he otherwise wouldn't have done it. It is one of the final few moments of this film, and I found it so incredibly moving. And everything about this film is just so well directed by Clint Bentley. The cinematography of The Natural World, it is the most beautifully shot film of 2025. I cannot believe how this film looked. And I saw this on my computer. That is the biggest disservice I could do it. I hope you are watching this review and you look on Fandango and you see, is this movie playing in theaters? If it is, run to your theater. The cinematography of The Natural World deserves to be seen on the biggest screen. It is so encompassing. It is so epic in its smallness. Even as we're following just one man's life, the world feels so big. There is this wonderful moment where the character of Robert just gets to experience how small he really is in the world. It is such a powerful, profound moment within this world. And the way that this film captures that, the way that this film tells us this in its storytelling, in its cinematography, The Natural World feels so alive in every moment of the camera. It is so beautiful and heartbreaking to endure. And it is the ambition of Train Dreams that I found just so rewarding. It is telling the story of one man going through life in a great period of change and what that means to experience. And I think this film does one of the best jobs I've seen of a film doing this year, where it allows you and it puts you in his shoes and you get every understanding of every emotion that this person is feeling. It is such a testament to the direction and writing of this film, as well as the performances. I really highly encourage you to check out Train Dreams. It's streaming on Netflix now. Again, if you have the chance to see it in theaters, you should. This is one of the best movies of 2025. I love Train Dreams. This is a huge recommendation from me. I'm going 4 out of 5 stars for Train Dreams. So thank you to everyone who watched this video and my review. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more. I'll be having more reviews of other films coming out real soon. Speaking of The Natural World and Life and Death, I am going to be seeing Hamnet later this week. I should be having a review out on that semi-soon. So make sure to subscribe to this channel for more. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.